Hello everyone. Today's lesson is about modal auxiliary verbs. What are modal auxiliary verbs? The verbs can, could, will, would, should, may, might, must, ought to, and shall are verbs which help other verbs to express a meaning. It is important to realize that these modal verbs have no meanings by themselves. A modal verb such as would has several varying functions. It can be used, for example, to help verbs express ideas about the past, the present, and the future. It is therefore wrong to simply believe that would is the past of will. It is many other things. A few basic grammatical rules applying to modal verbs. What sort of meanings do modals give to other verbs? The meaning is usually connected with ideas of doubt, certainty, possibility, and probability, obligation, and permission, or lack of these. They are not used to talk about things that definitely exist or events that definitely happened. These meanings are sometimes divided into two groups: degrees of certainty, probability, possibility, and impossibility, obligation, freedom to act, a permission, lack of permission, ability, and obligation. Let's look at each modal verb separately and the functions they help to express. We're going to start with will. Will is used for making personal predictions. Examples: I don't think the Queen will ever come. I doubt it if I'll stay here much longer. In these two sentences, I'm only predicting. Will is also used for talking about the present with certainty, which is making deductions. I'm sure you will understand that there is nothing the department can do. There's a letter for you. It'll be from the bank. They said they'd be writing. Another usage of will is talking about the future with certainty. I won't be in the office until 11. I've got a meeting. Example number 2. Don't bother ringing. They'll have left for their 10 o'clock lecture. Will is also used for talking about the past with certainty. I'm sure you will have noticed that attendance has fallen sharply. Will is also used to reassure someone. Example number 1. Don't worry. You'll settle down quickly, I'm sure. Example number 2. It'll be all right. You won't have to speak by yourself. The final use of will is to make a decision. For the main course, I'll have grilled tuna. I'm very tired. I think I'll stay at home tonight. Another modal auxiliary verb is shall. Shall is a form of will, used mostly in the first person. Its use, however, is decreasing. The only time you need to use it is in questions. For example, when making offers. Example, shall I fetch you another glass of juice? Or on making suggestions, we can also use shall. Example, shall we go to the cinema tonight? May and might are also modal verbs, modal auxiliary verbs. May and might sometimes have virtually the same meaning. They are used to talk about possibilities in the past, present, or future. Could is also sometimes used here. May is sometimes a little bit more sure. It gives 50% chance, whereas might expresses more doubt, maybe only a 30% chance. May and might are used then for talking about the present or future with uncertainty. Example, she may be back in her office. The lecture finished 10 minutes ago. I may go shopping tonight. I haven't decided yet. England might win the World Cup. You never know. Here I'm talking about something in the future which I'm not certain of. Talking about the past with uncertainty. I'm surprised he failed. I suppose he might have been ill on the day of the exam. They can also sometimes be used for talking about permission, but usually only in formal situations. Instead of saying, may I open a window? We would say, is it all right, okay, if I open a window? Or, can I open the window? For example, you might, however, see, students may not borrow equipment without written permission. Would is another modal auxiliary verb. Would is used as the past of will, for example, in indirect speech. The next meeting will be in a month's time. If we want to change the sentence into the indirect speech, it becomes, he said the next meeting would be in a month's time. Would is also used for polite requests and offers. A softer form of will. Would you like another cup of tea? Example number 2. Would you give me a ring after lunch? Example number 3. I'd like the roast duck, please. Would is also used in conditionals to indicate distance from reality, imagined, unreal, and impossible situations. If I ruled the world, every day would be the first day of spring. Can and could can be used for talking about ability. Example, can you speak Mandarin? This is used for present. She could play the piano when she was 5. Can and could also be used for making requests. Can you give me a ring at about 10? Example number 2. Could you speak up a bit, please? Slightly more formal, polite, or softer. Can and could also be used for asking permission. Can I ask you a question? Could I ask you a personal question? More formal, polite, or indirect. Can and could also be used for reported speech. Could is used as the past of can. He asked me if I could pick him up after work. Can and could also be used for general possibility. Examples, you can drive when you're 17. Example number 2, women couldn't vote until just after the First World War. The final use of can and could is for choice and opportunities. If you want some help with your writing, you can come to classes, or you can get some one-to-one help. We could go to Stratford tomorrow, but the forecast's not brilliant. This is less definite. Can and could also be used for future probability. Could, not can, is sometimes used in the same way as might or may, often indicating something less definite. Example, when I leave university, I might travel around a bit. I might do an MA, or I suppose I could even get a job. Present possibility. I think you could be right, you know. Not can. That can't be the right answer. It just doesn't make sense. Can and could also can be used for past possibility. If I'd known the lecture had been cancelled, I could have stayed in bed longer. Must is another modal auxiliary verb. It is used for necessity and obligation. Must is often used to indicate personal obligation. What you think yourself or other people things must do. If the obligation comes from outside, example, from a rule or a law, then have to is often, but not always, preferred. Examples. I really must get some exercise. Example number 2. People must try to be more tolerant of each other. Example number 3. You mustn't look, promise. 4. If you own a car, you have to pay an annual road tax. Example number 5. I have to study hard. Must is also used for giving strong advice and invitations. I think you really must make more of an effort. You must go and see the film. It's brilliant. Example number 3. You must come and see me next time you're in town. We can also use must to say you think something is certain. This must be the place. There's a white car parked outside. Example number 2. You must be mad. What a suntan. You must have had great weather. Should is used for giving advice. I think you should go for the alpha rather than the Uri. Example number 2. You shouldn't have ordered that chocolate dessert. You're not going to finish it. Should is also used for obligation, weak form of must. The university should provide more sports facilities. The equipment should be inspected regularly. Should is also used for deduction. The letter should get to you tomorrow. I posted it first class. We use should for things which didn't or may not have happened. Example, I should have renewed my TV license last month, but I forgot. You shouldn't have spent so much time on that first question. Ought to usually has the same meaning as should, particularly in affirmative statements in the present. You should or ought to get your hair cut. Should is much more common and easier to say. So if you're not sure, use should. Here are some exercises about modal auxiliary verbs. Complete the sentences using the words listed in the box below. Of course, here you have to use can or could or have to or must or might or even should. Number 1. Ted's flight from Amsterdam took more than 11 hours. He must be exhausted after such a long flight. He might prefer to stay in tonight and get some rest. Example number 2. When you have a small child in the house, you shouldn't leave small objects lying around. Such objects might be swallowed, causing serious injury or even death. Number 3. Dave, can you hold your breath for more than a minute? Nathan, no, I can't. That was our lesson for today. I hope you enjoyed it and found it interesting. Wish you all the best and good luck.